Are also following the concerns over the Indiana primary 2 days from now, already delayed about a month because of the coronavirus. And while the presidential primaries are essentially uncontested at this point, we do have a big congressional race and a lot of questions about how things will go for election officials on Tuesday. Concerns about delays with absentee ballots. Meantime, the big race we're watching is in the 5th district. This is Susan Brooks' seat. She's retiring, and these are the 15 Republicans in the race for her seat. 5 Democrats as well, as they try to flip the district from red to blue this year. You've probably seen a lot of ads in recent days. I asked some of the candidates about those ads this week, including former Marion County prosecutor Carl Brizzi. You've been going back and forth here with one of your opponents, State Senator Victoria Spartz. A group supporting her has been critical of you. You've questioned the source of some of her finances. Here's what she told us about that last week.
I've been involved in commercial real estate. I've been involved in farming. This country was so great to me. I came here with nothing. I think it's very clearly disclosed in my statement. And to tell you the truth, I didn't plan to loan myself as much money, but my session ended in the middle of March when we went in lockdown and everyone was really concerned. And I felt that, you know what, I'll have to put more money into this election because it's important times and I have to make my case.
He also says this is just politics. I know Carl is upset, but voters will decide. What's your response to that?
Well, my response is that, look, I'm not upset, but as a former prosecutor and as somebody who basically does this for a living, the $750,000 that Victoria Spartz has contributed to her campaign is not accounted for, right? I mean, every time someone in the press asks her the question, she deflects it. She never answers. Listen, Dan, the money had to get from somewhere into her campaign account, right? I mean, she didn't bring in bags of cash to the bank. So the money had to come from a bank. That bank is not listed on her federal disclosures. And there is actually no checking account or no savings account listed on her federal disclosures. So I don't even know how Mrs. Spartz buys groceries, much less transfers $750,000 into her campaign account.
Club for Growth has been going after both you and Beth Henderson. I want to ask you about their ad that shows you in recent years on your talk show being critical of President Trump. They've also been critical of you, the Club for Growth, on the issue of taxes. But in this recent ad, are you worried about the impact that could have in a Republican primary?
Well, look, the Club for Growth is a dark money, deceitful organization run by a bunch of clowns. And the thing about Club for Growth that is so ironic is this is the same organization that spent $7 million trying to defeat President Trump in 2016. So for them to turn around and criticize me on my radio show, my podcast, for being critical of some of the things that the president says, does, and tweets is insane. Look, I support President Trump, but Dan, I don't agree with everything the president does, says, and tweets. And if you're looking to elect someone to Congress who will just literally march in lockstep and never say a critical thing, that's not me. That's not me. I'm going to tell it straight. I'm going to tell it how it is. And I'm telling it straight. I'm telling it how it is right now. I support the president 100%, but I do not always agree with everything he does, says, and tweets. Just like my wife or my kids, totally support them. But do I always agree with them? No.
It's an interesting way to put it there. How concerned are you about this primary itself on Tuesday in terms of the logistics, the safety process in the midst of this pandemic? We've also heard some reports in Marion County, potentially, of voters not receiving their absentee ballots, though one had been requested. Do you have concerns about this thing going smoothly on Tuesday?
I do. No, this is unprecedented. Nobody knows what's going to happen. I know Marion County sent out like 1 million+ ballots. Only a small handful have been returned. We received our absentee ballots just as a test in Hamilton County, but it took a little bit longer than I expected. Now we're going to go vote in person. But I really don't know. I do know this. I know that if somebody requests an absentee, Dan, the longer it sits on their nightstand or their kitchen table after they've received it, the less likely that it will go returned. And so then it becomes an issue of now are people going to actually go out and go vote at the polls? The bigger issue, though, I will say is that if this dark money Club for Growth organization turns this election and it turns on a special interest dark money PAC, that's going to be a big problem for Republicans in terms of holding this seat.
What is your final message to voters here with just days until this primary in a very crowded field?
I would say this, that no matter who your candidate is, no matter which way you're leaning, go and do 15 minutes of research. Go online and look and make sure that the negative things that are being said about whoever they're being said about, make sure that those things are actually true, because what we are finding is that they are all gross misrepresentations and outright lies from this dark money PAC, because they have no accountability. They're not Hoosiers. They're in D.C., and nobody knows where their money comes from. And so I think it's incumbent upon everyone to do a little homework before they cast a ballot.
Carl Brizzi, we thank you for spending some time with us today, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, let's bring in Beth Henderson now. Beth, a lot of ads on the air ahead of this rather crowded primary. You have also been targeted in some of these ads from Club for Growth. Are these ads effective, showing an interview you gave in 2016 about Donald Trump and some of the things you didn't like about his campaign at the time?
You know, Dan, first of all, it's a shame that this special interest group, Club for Growth, interjected themselves at the request of Victoria Spartz, and they're spreading slanderous lies. The gist of this interview with CNN was done 2 years ago when Mike Braun was running, and they asked to come and do an interview. So I reluctantly accepted, but I wanted to promote Mike and President Trump. And of course, the interview that's shown in the commercial has been clipped and doesn't show the part where I say I am pro-Trump, I'm for his policies. The thing that I said was I didn't really like his tweets and some of the things he said, but I think, you know, other than that, I did say that I do think he's for the good of the people, and he's doing good things for the country, and I supported him. And if you notice at the bottom, it says Trump voter. It says, yeah, so I voted for Trump, and I would vote for him again. They twisted things to be not true, and the negativity is not what the voters want or deserve.
Want to ask you about your recent ad pushing back on Senator Spartz. In this ad, you show an image of a Soviet flag. You mentioned that you are born in the USA. Are you concerned some of that may come off the wrong way, that some might find it to be too nativist?
Well, first of all, my opponent has so many unanswered questions about her finances and the sources of her funding for her campaign. We are basing my commercial on the truth, and those images were taken directly from Victoria Spartz's commercial, so nothing was edited or misconstrued, and we're basing it on the truth. I have to defend myself and defend my integrity and character.
Most importantly, finally, when it comes to this coronavirus crisis, you revealed the impact it's had on your family. How's everyone doing?
Thanks for asking, Dan. Well, our daughter Amelia is doing so much better. It was a tough few weeks. I'd get calls from her. She'd have a high temperature. It was so hard as a mom to not go running over to Champaign, Illinois to take care of her. But I think she's finally through the worst of it. She's feeling better. I just spoke to her right before our interview. She's getting tested again on Friday, providing she's negative. She will be home for Election Day, which we're very excited about.
So glad that she's doing well. Beth Henderson, thank you for taking some time with us today. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Dan.
All right, this week I also spoke with candidates Kelly Mitchell and Micah Beckwith about this very crowded primary and the impact of the coronavirus, with more voters than ever requesting absentee ballots. We saw some of the numbers this week showing 500,000 Hoosiers had requested an absentee ballot, but this week you also sent a letter to Mayor Hogsett with some concerns about whether voters in Marion County have actually been receiving those absentee ballots.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, in the 5th district alone, we've had over 47,000 GOP absentee ballot requests, which is just unprecedented. And so indeed, a huge number we're dealing with. But in my calls to voters, which I am doing, spending a lot of my time calling voters again, talking with them, listening to them. I talked to an 84-year-old gentleman yesterday who has never missed an election, never missed a vote, and he has yet to receive his absentee ballot that he requested over a month ago. And he's afraid for the first time he's going to miss a vote. I don't know what will be decided, if anything will be changed, but I really wanted to bring this to light because I am concerned that many, many voters are going to be disenfranchised for this primary election.
Is it possible we don't know Tuesday night who has won this primary?
I think that's very possible, which is someone, of course, who's on the ballot and thought this would be decided May 5th. I'm not, really excited about, but I absolutely understand. And I'm grateful for the people that have taken the time to vote by absentee because they want to participate in this great American process of casting your vote for the candidate that you believe in. And so however long it takes, I certainly hope that I have the great honor of representing the people of the 5th District of Indiana in DC.
How is this going to go in terms of safety and logistics?
Yeah, so I tell everyone, do what you feel comfortable doing. If you are immunocompromised and you feel it's best for you and your family to stay home, well, then vote absentee, vote mail in. There's other ways to get out the vote. But to those who want to actually go and exercise their right by clicking the button, well, then get to the polls too. And, again, be wise, be safe. You don't have to stand close to people. I early voted in Hamilton County on Tuesday, and I think Hamilton County is doing a great job. It was very spread out. I didn't come close to really anybody the entire time I was there. So I think we can do this, and we can do this well. It's not you have to stay in your house or open up altogether. There can be middle ground. And at the end of the day, it's about personal liberties. That's what I keep pushing. The government does not have the authority to label anybody non-essential or essential. They can ask us to stay home. They can ask us to shut our businesses and our churches down, but they cannot mandate it and decree it.
With had called for an end to some of those government shutdowns way back in April. Coming up next this Sunday in Focus, we'll talk with our panel about the upcoming Indiana primary and some of the challenges that officials could face. And we'll talk with our panel about the situation in Minnesota, prompting reaction and unrest there and around the country in an already volatile time. We'll be back.